welcome to Japan and the Suzuka circuit. Happy to have you all along with us today as we get started on our F1 qualifying. Certainly a lot to talk about, very close up at the top of the standings, and should be a lot of fun here today as we anticipate our 18th race of the season. Of course, only 22 races in total, so we are coming down to the home stretch here for Bette Jalle. Right now, at the top of the table through 17 races, we have Vapor Cobalt leading the way with 202 points. In second, Big Baguette with 200. Third, Let's Get Fiscal with 189. Fourth, tied in fourth, I should say, is Vapor Trench and Greenie with 183 points apiece. So certainly there's still 5 drivers who have a very legitimate shot at winning the Cup this year. As we would wait to see who heads out of pit row first to get our qualifying underway. Stay on board here with Red Sniper. Hop in the cockpit with him as he comes out of the pit lane here and gets underway for his out lap. And as he hits his hot lap, I'll take you through the circuit and what we can expect here at the Suzuka circuit. This is many drivers' favorite circuit. It's a very, very fast circuit. Very few slow-down moments in it. First built in the 1950s, it was designed as a Honda test track. It's been modified at least 8 times in Japan, so certainly they look to improve it again and again with the latest update being in 2003, so certainly they've done a lot of work on this track. This track comes in just a little under 6 kilometers, about 5.8 kilometers. For you other Americans out there, that's a little over 3.5 miles, so a bit long as far as F1 tracks go, but it is a speedy one. We're talking about 18 turns in total, but to travel that 5.8 kilometers, we'll see these drivers today come in just a little under a minute 30 seconds as we see Red Sniper begin his hot lap. A bit of a straight coming out of that start-finish line. Turn 1 is going to be that looping right. You do have to tap the brakes just a little bit, but it's not too bad. Turn 2, of course, finishes that out. Turn 3 brings us into our S-curves. Turns 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all part of that S-curve portion as we see Red Sniper coming out of turn 7. And into turn 8, also known as the Degner curve. Degner curve is going to be a right turn, as you see it right here. Turn 9 is going to be a little bit heavier on the brakes. And that brings us under the second portion of the track. A bit of an underpass there. Turn 10 is going to be a bit of a slow into a hairpin turn 11, which you just saw. Turn 12 is a bit of a looping right, full on the gas through turn 12. Then we get into what's known as Spoon Curve. That'll be turns 13 as you see it there, and 14 to finish out Spoon Curve. Kind of a continuation off of turn 13. From there, we'll head back over the overpass. As you'll see, the portion before passes underneath. This is one of the longer straights, fastest portion of the track. Turn 15 is a little hiccup of the left. 16, 17, and 18 are one right after the other. known as Casio Triangle. And that pretty much does it off of that looping turn 18. There you have it. That is our Suzuka circuit here in Japan in the Mie Prefecture. Currently we've got Vapor Cobalt sitting in pole position, minute 26, Trilson minute 27, and from there on out we'll just kind of revisit once we have some more finishes. For now, let's hop on with, let's see who we have here. Chensky's having himself a bit of an outlap. Hop on with Price here as he is on a hot lap. See what kind of finish this young man can get today. Just see him getting to that Casio Triangle. Looks like he'll get a pretty solid time. Definitely not good for top 5, but certainly for now top 10. As it seems like the pace really, anything under a minute 28 and you might be in the top 10. Anything a little slower than a minute 28, you're going to probably find yourself in the back half of the starting grid. Got a little fan for Crunchy Trees here in the chat. Welcome, Sir Chom. Hope you enjoy the race. Looking to see Crunchy Trees repeat his performance from last week where he scored his first points in F1 Bette Jalle. So big shout out for Crunchy Trees. Look forward to seeing what he can bring to the table today, as Crunchy Trees has given us a hot lap, although I'm sure he'll want to improve on that, and he will here as he slips all the way up into third with a time just a little over at minute 27. So very nice work from Crunchy Trees. That should be good enough, I would imagine, to secure him a spot in the top 6 or 7. We do still have Greeny yet to qualify, who always sets very, very speedy times. We've also got to see Vapor Trench set a time, and Big Baguette. All 3 of those we'll probably end up seeing in the top 6 or 7 of qualifying, come the end of qualifying. For now, we'll hang out with Greeny, who always manages to turn in a hell of a time week in, week out in qualifying. The big issue is whether or not he can keep his lap from invalidating on qualifying. He's definitely had trouble with that in the past. As we see him already setting a purple Sector 1, that means he's the fastest driver through Sector 1 so far in qualifying. So certainly looking to set the pole pace here. As we see Greeny come out of turn 12 here into our spoon curve, that's turn 13 and 14. He's just making short work of this Suzuka circuit. Unfortunately, we do see him go a little wide there and invalidate that lap. Like I said, it is certainly something that Greeny has struggled with, is not able to make valid lap times in qualifying. That being said, he'll have a couple more chances at it, and I'm sure he will have plenty of time to improve on that position. We still have Vapor Cobalt up on pole, about half a second faster than the next fastest driver, that's Trulson. So Vapor Cobalt looking very nice right now in pole. Of course, we still do have Big Baguette and Greeny yet to qualify, as we hop on board with Big Baguette to see what kind of time he can offer us here today. Big Baguette immediately invalidating as soon as I switch to him. Maybe it's me, I don't know. As we see our second driver invalidate on a hot lap. Let's hop on board with KJ and see what KJ can offer us here in Japan. Talking a little bit more about our top 5 drivers. You know, they've all basically done it in different ways. We've seen Vapor Trench with 8 wins, currently our winningest driver in Bette Jalle F1 with those 8 wins. So he's accrued that 183 points just by really turning in win after win. With 8 wins, he's 7 wins, and he's had 8 top 3, so that just shows that he's basically winning every time he does sneak in those top 3s. We see KJ sneak into 8 in qualifying. We also have Vapor Cobalt currently in first on the table with 202 points. Vapor Cobalt has had 10 top threes, but only one win in F1. So he's, you know, made his way to the top of the leaderboard just by consistently turning in those top threes, race in and race out. Big Baguette in second has 6 top threes. He's also managed 2 wins. Big Baguette is definitely a consistent top 5 finisher, though. So that's something that we can always look forward to with Big Baguette. Meanwhile, Gourlay has set a Sector 1 purple, so we'll hang out here for a second to watch that hot lap. Going back to our top 5, let's get Fiscal in third with 189 points. He's another top 5 specialist. You know, he finishes inside the top 5s 11 times of the first 17 races. He's been in that top 5, and he's also had a couple of 6th place finishes as well, so he's always kind of at the top of the grid come the end of the race. Only one win, though, to this point. And then Greeny tied in 4th with Vapor Trench. He's kind of gone about it in the same way as Vapor Trench in that he has turned in 5 wins and 8 top 3s. He's also DNF'd 7 races so far, which is kind of crazy. We see Gourlay not able to improve on his first lap time. Red Sniper has retired. It looks like he'll make it to where he is at. Meanwhile, still waiting on both Big Baguette and Greeny. Greeny's now on a hot lap, so we'll follow along with him to see if he can get it done here. As we see Vapor Trench turn in a slightly faster time, falling only about 0.2 of a second behind our pole Vapor Cobalt. So the Vapor Boys up in position 1 and 2. Oh, and we see Greeny lose it there. Hopefully Greeny's going to be able to get something turned in here. I don't think, you know, even with that bit of collision on the wall, he might still be able to turn in top. No, he's just going to invalidate there for sure. So it looks like he's going to head into the pits and get himself sorted for maybe one more attempt to try to get a qualifying time. Still waiting on quality times from Chris F1 Racing, Big Baguette, and Greeny. Big Baguette has also invalidated, as has Chris F1 Racing. We'll have 18 drivers out on the circuit today. As I mentioned, Crunchy Trees had his first points finish last week. He garnered 10 points with a solid showing last week. And moments ago, we saw Will 7A set a pole time, beating out Vapor Cobalt by a couple tenths of a second. Excellent work from Will 7A to turn in that excellent qualifying result. Big Baguette will certainly have to head into the pits here, being low on fuel. Probably won't have enough fuel for another hot lap. He's taking another shot at it as he's out on another outlap. We'll have to see what kind of result he gets on this outlap. Still hoping for a good qualifying time here. He's away on the hot lap. Let's see what he can do. As he hits the first turn, very, very fast. Excellent exit for him as he plays the first couple of turns perfectly into this S-curve portion. It can be very, very quick. Probably won't see too many passes in the S-curves. That being said, it's definitely a spot to look for early on in the race to see what kind of collisions we might be party to. As we see, once again, Greeny setting that purple sector 1. He really knows how to put the pedal down, does Greeny, with these excellent entrances and exits off of the first sector into our turn 12, heading towards Spoon Curve section. And we'll see what kind of sector 2 he has after an excellent sector 1. Managing to not take Spoon Curve too wide as he did on that first hot lap. So far so good. Heading into sector 3, and we've seen a purple sector 1, and that's a purple sector 2. So this man is on pace for a pole if he can get a good finish here, as the tough parts of the race are through. And I have a feeling we're going to see a really incredible time there from Greeny. Yes, indeed, shaving off almost a full second, about 3/4 of a second from Will 7A. That's good enough for pole. Excellent work for Greeny, once again showing why week in, week out, this man just turns in wins in top 3 results like it's nothing. So currently, with a couple of minutes left in qualifying, we still have Big Baguette we're waiting for on a outlap. Looks like he'll be starting his hot lap here in just a moment. Also waiting on Chris F1 Racing to see what he can offer us. Hello, Lesty. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat here in the video. It's wonderful to have you, and I wish you nothing but luck. Excellent qualifying for you with 1:28 and about a 10th. Good enough currently for 13th. Seems to me like you might drop a spot or two if Big Baguette can turn in a solid qualifying here. But certainly excited to see what you can do for us here in this race, as you and teammate Let's Get Fiscal for Renault currently in 4th in team points. So maybe a couple of good results here could slingshot you up at the very least into 3rd and possibly up to 2nd or 1st, depending on what Williams and Ferrari does today. Yes, indeed. Let's Get Fiscal, also known AKA as Kieran, doing excellent work with the Renault team. As I mentioned, Let's Get Fiscal currently in 3rd in points, just by himself with 189. So excellent work from him, as we're going to see here if Big Baguette can turn in a time. And it looks like it's going to be a very good time. Good enough for 2nd. So Big Baguette does indeed qualify, and we see 4 of our top 5 drivers in the top 5, just making this kind of the end of season sprint towards the Bette Jalle Cup more and more exciting. And we see Chris F1 also turning in a solid qualifying with 1 minute and 27.7 seconds. And Big Baguette does slip down into third as Vapor Cobalt opts to do one more hot lap and able to shave a couple tenths of a second off his time and slip down into second. So as we wait for our drivers to ready up here, we'll start with Greenie in pole position. Vapor Cobalt will start in second. Big Baguette third. Will 7A in fourth. Let's Get Fiscal fifth. Trulson in sixth. Vapor Trench in seventh. KJ in eighth. Crunchy Trees in 9th, and I'll bring you the rest here momentarily. Josh Smithness will start in 10th. Vachensky 11th. Nicholas Volkman will start in 12th. Gourlay 13th. Chris F1 14th. Lesty the Twig will start in 15th. Red Sniper 16th. Word Cloud 17th. And bringing up the rear will be Price Jr. I've made that mistake far too many times. With a time of 1 minute and 28 and just a shade over 0.6 of a second. Some fairly close gaps, but we've certainly seen closer in qualifying. Nothing too crazy. A few that are within 4 or 500ths of a second, but no thousandths of a second or maybe a mere hundredth of a second, as we've seen often in qualifying as we get ready to get this thing started here in Japan. Very excited for our 18th race of the season here in the Mie Prefecture at Suzuka Circuit in Japan. Only 4 races to go after this. Next week we'll have USA. I should say Sunday we'll have USA. On next Friday we'll have Mexico. The following Sunday Brazil. And then last but not least our finale will be in Abu Dhabi. That will be 2 weeks from today, and that's where we will crown our Bette Jalle champion. As we get our formation lap underway, we see Greenie in his signature red, driving at the front of the pack. Of course, Greenie in that Ferrari has certainly led the way. Ferrari as a team currently in second with 262 points. That's Greenie and teammate Josh Smithness putting up those points. But currently in first is Team Williams with 273 points. That's Vapor Cobalt, who joined as a full-time driver back about halfway through this current season, along with Nicholas Volkman. So they are currently in first as a team. They look to see what more they can get done to maybe expand on this lead a little bit. Vapor Cobalt currently in this race starting in second, and Nicholas Volkman starting in 12th. Up to see what kind of points they can get as a team. Only 19 points separates our top 5 drivers with only 5 races to go. So certainly any one of the 5 of those drivers between Vapor Cobalt, Big Baguette, Let's Get Fiscal, Vapor Trench, and Greenie have a legitimate shot to win the Cup this year. As we approach the end of our formation lap. We're doing 27 laps today here in Japan. Should be a whole lot of fun. Only one DRS zone in Japan. It's already a very, very fast circuit. We should see lots and lots of passing, perhaps a bit of fireworks as we wait for these racers to take their positions. Fans in attendance excitedly waiting for the start of our race as our drivers get settled in on the grid. We will turn on a couple of notifiers here, and the lights are on, and ladies and gentlemen, in Japan, we are off to the races. See how these drivers handle the first few. Definitely some damage there off the start. Lots of bumping. Certainly a lot of wing damage. As you can see, parts falling on the track left and right. We'll have to see who has that wing damage here when we can. And it seems like, let's see, who is that? Yeah, definitely Red Sniper's got a bit of wing damage off that start. And we've seen Vapor Trench slip all the way down to 11th off the start, so certainly possibly a bit of damage for him. Let's Get Fiscal, also a bit of damage on that start. Let's see if Vapor Trench has some wing damage. Indeed he does, that left wing end plate. Just like Let's Get Fiscal is missing, so we might see early pits from those drivers. Let's see how they handle for now, missing a portion of the wing. As you see, Greeny set our fastest lap time through the first couple of laps, and we do have DRS enabled this lap. As you can see, the predicted pit stop strategy there. Red Sniper picks up a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Vapor Trench also opting to pit onto hards, so he'll probably stay out for as long as he can on those hard tires, and then possibly switching over to a soft tire later on in the race. Greeny still has the lead. We're waiting for our grid bug to sort itself out. As you see, we have a bit of a yellow. It looks like, let's see, is that Nicholas Volkmann? Yeah, indeed, it was Nicholas Volkmann. And Gourlay also retiring. I'm not sure what happened there, as we see him right in the middle of the track. Looks like he got into a tussle perhaps with Nicholas Volkmann or maybe Price Jr. We will have a virtual safety car, so these drivers will keep that pace under the delta. That's bad luck for Gourlay, who had been showing really fine form in the last few weeks. Gourlay will certainly be upset about that. As we wait to get the restart off this virtual safety car, kind of the usual suspects up in the top three, with Greeny, Vapor Cobalt, and Big Baguette all managing to stay out of trouble early. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal still has a bit of wing damage. We'll have to see if he can get that sorted as we head into our third lap. Take a look on board with Will 7A trying to chase down Big Baguette. Certainly a challenge, as our front few drivers still very, very close. Not a great deal of interval. Meanwhile, Josh Smithness, Ferrari driver, trying to sneak by Let's Get Fiscal. Let's Get Fiscal, of course, with that left wing end plate missing, probably won't be able to hold off Josh Smithness for long. We'll have to see if Josh Smithness can slip by and maybe not lose out on potentially catching up to this front pack. We see Volkmann and Price Jr. both, I believe, involved in the collision that took Gourlay out of the race, heading into the pits. So the yellow flag in Sector 1, I believe that's Vapor Trench, as he finds himself in the wall. Oh dear, Vapor Trench not having a very good race, having just gone into the pits to get hards on. Looks like he was able to avoid any sort of wing damage, so hopefully he'll be able to stay out, having already made an early pit. Vapor Trench not having the type of race he was hoping for at this point. Meanwhile, Josh Smith is still trying to sneak on by Let's Get Fiscal. Let's Get Fiscal showing some excellent defensive driving, especially given the missing wing. I have a feeling we'll see Let's Get Fiscal pit in the next couple of laps on the hard tires, as he does finally cede that position to Josh Smithness. Now Let's Get Fiscal will just do his best to hang on to P8 as teammate Leslie the Twig catches up in the S-curve section. We'll have to see if there's any team orders here for Leslie to slip by Let's Get Fiscal. Chensky, of course, right in amongst this group as well. Meanwhile, our front four drivers still within spitting distance of each other. Will 7A only 0.3 of a second back from Big Baguette. See what Will 7A can do here. Just a quick reminder, do stay tuned after the race as we hope to have our podium finishers. That's our top three racers in. Ooh, as Will touches tires there with Big Baguette. A bit too small of space. Not sure what Will 7A was trying to do there. Lucky not to take some damage and lose that left wing end plate. But yeah, do stay tuned as we hope to interview our top three drivers, should they like to join us. Always nice to have them, to be able to ask the odd question or two. Seems like Crunchy Trees might be having some internet issues as he keeps coming and going. Look at the back of the pack with Nicholas Volkman trying to catch up to Vapor Trench. Vapor Trench showing some impressive pace on those hard tires. We have seen him already lose control though once, so hopefully he can manage to keep it together. And with those hard tires, maybe when the first wave of pit stops happens in the next few laps, we'll see him start to catch up to the bulk of this group. As Leslie the Twig does indeed get the pass done on teammate Let's Get Fiscal. Will 7A still thinking about making a pass on Big Baguette before the pit stop. We'll have to see if he can manage it. And Crunchy Trees in the chat saying his PlayStation turned off out of nowhere. That's definitely not what you want to see. Hopefully you can get that sorted back out and finish this race strong. Sorry to see that from you, Crunchy Trees, especially after your superior result last week. We hope to get you back in this race. Wish you nothing but Godspeed on that. Will 7A showing impressive pace as he maybe cuts that corner a little tight, but doing his best to keep up with Big Baguette, one of our top drivers here in Bette, Jalle. take a look back one with Chris F1 trying to pass Worried Cloud here in lap 6. As we come up to the DRS section, we might see Chris F1 attempt to get a pass done on Worried Cloud, as he will get the DRS here out of this section. Price Jr. picking up a 3-second time penalty, definitely not what he wanted to see. It's a much better exit than Worried Cloud out of turn 2. And Let's Get Fiscal does head into the pits onto those hards. Also is going to go ahead and get that wing fixed. He'll end up probably coming back out of the pits somewhere along with Red Sniper, maybe a few seconds ahead of. He'll just have to do his best to run his own race here. Just try to mark a few seconds off here and there as the race goes on. Red Sniper picking up a 3-second time penalty. As the grid starts to get a little bit spread out here, certainly will get interesting in the next couple of laps when we see our front 7 drivers heading into the pits. And our first driver to blink will be Trulson. He heads into the pits first. He'll get on, I would imagine, looks like hard tires for Trulson. Trulson will probably come out somewhere in front of Let's Get Fiscal. Hopefully no issues in the pits with Josh Smithness and Greeny being on the same team, and Will and Big Baguette being on the same team. Could cause some issues in the pits. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, we did see Will just pick up a 3-second time penalty. We've seen him cut a couple of corners, so that's not totally surprising that he does pick up a 3-second time penalty. Disappointing for him, I'm sure, but not totally surprising in the least. As Vapor Trench looks to take on Nicholas Volkman. And Red Sniper is out of this race. Not sure what happened, but he will DNF here in Japan. So that's 2 drivers down, both Gourlay and Red Sniper. And it looks like Vapor Cobalt's heading into the pits. Seems like teammates Greeny and Josh are staying out, and Big Baguette and Will definitely could cause some issues. And it looks like Crunchy is done for the day as well, as he is unable to rejoin. And Crunchy's AI opts for hards here, definitely going to keep an eye on that. Vapor Trench still doing his best to catch up to Nicholas Volkman. Well, we'll certainly see Greeny and Big Baguette pit this lap, I would imagine. Indeed, we see Greeny heading into the pits. Looks like Big Baguette will stay out on the track, so Will 7A will head on into the pits then. Josh Smithness is probably going to have to stay out for this lap. I still hope his tires can go one more lap here. Both Greeny and Will 7A opting onto hard tires. Looks like they'll try to make those go the rest of the way. So Leslie the Twig finds himself all the way up in 4th. Looks like Renault might be on his shoulders today, as teammate Let's Get Fiscal still trying to fight back into the top 10, currently in 12th. Leslie the Twig has run an excellent race on those mediums. Seeing him move up 11 positions, able to stay out of trouble early. So certainly a nice race to this point for Leslie the Twig, finding himself up in 4th. Of course, still having to pit in the next few laps, but depending on how long he can take these mediums, he might be able to pit on the softs for the last part of the race. We'll have to see how long those medium tires last. As you see, Let's Get Fiscal hopping on the back of Chris F1, trying to make up any positions he can as Chris F1 coming out of the pits on those fresh hards. Let's Get Fiscal, meanwhile, with those 2-lap-old, maybe slightly more worn-in hards. Have to see what kind of pace Let's Get Fiscal can have, as we finally do see Big Baguette and KJ both pit. Looks like Josh Smithness is going to stay out for now on those 10-lap-old softs. Let's see what Josh can do on those softs, as Lesty on those 10-lap-old mediums looks to chase him down. Lesty should be able to get a few more laps out of these mediums. Might opt to shoot for, if he can get it, 17 or 18 laps on the mediums, and then make the switch on to softs for the last part of the race. We'll have to see how that strategy plays out. I don't think he's going to want to switch from the mediums to the hards. We'll just have to kind of see how those medium tires hold up. Quite a train here as we see Will 7A, Big Baguette, Trulson, and Worried Cloud all within a few tenths of a second of each other. And Trulson thinks about making a move here. Trulson, of course, no stranger to contact. Let's see if he can find his way past Worried Cloud, as we see all 4 of these drivers right on top of each other as they come across that start-finish line. And it looks like Trulson will make a move to the inside. Big Baguette also looking to make a move. Very, very tight here as Big Baguette makes the double pass. Trulson passes Worried Cloud, and then Will 7A also passing Worried Cloud as we get into the S-curves portion of the track. So Worried Cloud losing out on 3 positions as both Big Baguette and Trulson move by. Big Baguette, the big winner, moving up a couple of spots, passing both Worried Cloud and Trulson. As Greeny looks like he's going to be doing his best here to slip by Vachensky. We do finally see Josh Smithness switch onto those mediums. He'll see if he can take those the rest of the way. See what Greeny does on these hard tires, showing ridiculous pace, even on the same tire composite as Vachensky. Looks like he should be able to find a way to pass here using the home straight DRS. Let's see if he can catch Vachensky coming into turn 1 here. Opts to take the inside. Wow. Vachensky really miscalculates his brake there, and Greeny with the perfect entrance and exit out of turns 1 and 2. able to easily pass Vichensky and slip back up into second, now chasing down Lesty the Twig, who will still have to give a pit stop at some point, I would imagine, in the next few laps. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal still going to work on Chris F1 Racing. Let's see through this S-curves portion how close Let's Get Fiscal can get to Chris F1. We'll have to keep an eye on that, but let's for a moment go check and see what Will 7A has in mind for Trulson. As they go, looks like Will 7A delivers a small bump to the back of Trulson, slowing Trulson down just a little bit. Will 7A unable to make the pass there. And we see Will 7A go a little wide. Definitely has had issues keeping it on the track here. See a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. Looks like that was Price Jr. And Will 7A does get the pass done on Trulson, although Trulson looks to come back underneath. They bumped tires there briefly for a moment, but Will 7A does look like he's going to be able to pull away from Trulson, or at least hopes to. Already about a second and a half back of Lesty. Moments ago he was a full 3 seconds back, so showing off just absolutely impressive pace on those mediums. I imagine Lesty the Twig might still try to get a few more laps out of these mediums if he wants to get onto the softs, but it's going to be really, really interesting, to be honest with you. We'll have to see when he opts to pit, as he has put a little bit of separation between himself and Greeny, getting that difference back up to about 2 seconds. Definitely looks like we might have a really close finish here, though. Lots of drivers very close together here at the top. Trulson looking to take that position back. Lots of yellow flags down. Doesn't look like that's going to have any huge effect. You see the green flags come back out. Take a look at this battle here between Nicholas Volkman and Crunchy Trees. Crunchy Trees, I believe, is still AI, as Vapor Trench makes a little bit of contact getting by that AI driver. Vapor Trench looking to track down Nicholas Volkman now and try to make this late run to see if he can be a contender here. Nicholas Volkman showing us some impressive defensive driving there. Not really giving Vapor Trench any room to get by. Greeny, meanwhile, has turned that interval into about a second. And through that home straight, Lesty able to fend him off at least for now. Vapor Trench thinking about a pass there. That would have been risky through turn there, but he decides to back off at least for now. Green now inside half a second of Lesty the Twig. I imagine we'll see this pass getting done maybe at the conclusion of this lap, going into lap 17. That being said, if Lesty the Twig opts to pit at the end of this lap, which he may do, we might see him go ahead and opt for those softs into lap 17. and hope that they take him the rest of the way. Greeny looks to see if he can maybe get a pass done before that start-finish line. I'm not sure he's going to find himself a window here. I'll have to see if Leslie the Twig opts to get maybe one more lap out of those mediums or pits here. Not entirely sure what he might do, as Big Baguette also looks to slip by Vichensky. We'll give that a look here in just a moment. Let's see, the Twig will head into the pits and put those softs on. So let's check on Big Baguette, about a half second back of Vichensky. Let's see if he can use this DRS to slip by the driver in front of him with the much harder composite tires. And bit of a bump there, Big Baguette on Vichensky, but no pass done yet. And it looks like Leslie the Twig will come out somewhere around, I would say, 9th place, looks like. But Leslie the Twig is on those softs, so will certainly be interesting to see how the end of this race shapes up for Leslie the Twig. And now we're waiting on Vichensky to head into the pits, probably going to also opt for soft tires to take him through the end of this race. This Vapor Trench has made it past Nicholas Volkman, currently putting a little bit of distance behind. 15 seconds separate him and Let's Get Physical, so not sure Vapor Trench will be moving up position anytime soon. Also probably going to have to pit. I don't know if his tires are going to take him to the end of the race, as hard tires maybe not quite good for 24 laps. Big Baguette once again going to make a attempt through this start-finish line DRS, and indeed looks like he's going to be able to get it done. Just make sure you don't give it too much there, as he gets by Vichensky no problem. And so we have our top 3 drivers, Greeny, Vapor Cobalt, and Big Baguette, names that we see pretty much week in, week out in those top 3 positions. Big Baguette's got to be careful not to get himself a 3-second penalty. Very, very close on the corner cut there. I see the Twig looking to see if he can catch up to KJ on those fresh soft tires. KJ meanwhile on those 6-lap-old hards. So in a vacuum, Lesty should be maybe a little bit quicker than KJ. We'll have to see how it shapes up through this last portion of lap 18. And Lesty finds a little bit of room, slips by on this, we'll call it a back straight into sector 3. KJ not exactly letting him go unpassed. He'll certainly get the DRS here in a moment. Unable to really do much with it to catch up to Leslie the Twig. Perhaps those hard tires are just not quite cutting it. Meanwhile, Leslie the Twig looks to get some work done on Josh Smithness. Leslie the Twig having an excellent race, if I do say so myself. Considering he qualified in 15th, he's up in 8th on soft tires, only about 0.6 of a second or so back from moving up into 7th. Will 7A also looking to get a pass done on Bachenski. At a half second back currently. We'll switch to that here in just a moment. Just going to see if we can spot Lesty getting by Josh Smithness on those fresh soft tires. We'll have to see how long these softs hold up for. Can they give this man 8 good laps? We'll just have to wait and see. Just going up to Will 7A. Looks like he will indeed be able to pass Bachenski as Bachenski opts to head into the pits. So heading back to Lesty the Twig. Looking like he's gonna be able to get by Josh Smithness here. Gonna be really interesting to see what he does from the outside if he can't get clear of Josh Smithness. But it looks like he will be able to get clear, manages to not overrun these first couple of turns like you can do if you opt for an outside entrance. So you get a yellow flag for Price Jr. as he slows to let drivers past him there. And Lesty the Twig moved up into 6th, and he'll see if he can chase down Trulson here in the last 8 laps. All of our intervals are up over a second, with the exception of Worried Cloud, a little less than a second behind Nicholas Volkman. Let's get Fiscal up and back into the points. Not sure we'll see a top 5 finish from Let's Get Fiscal here, but he still has to be feeling overall pretty good considering how poorly the race started for him, that he's even in the conversation of getting points in this race. Waiting to see if there's any tight intervals. This looks like our best bet here. Worried Cloud and Nicholas Volkman. Worried Cloud about a half second back of Nicholas Volkman for 13th place. It looks like Let's Get Fiscal having some problems. Maybe spinning out? Not sure. Doesn't look like he's got any wing damage. Maybe just the tire is overheating a little bit. We'll have to see if he can keep it on the track. Definitely not what he wanted, as it looks like he might lose out on his chance. Maybe spoke too soon concerning Let's Get Fiscal getting points in this race. Looks like he's doing okay now tire-wise. Not entirely sure what happened there. Vapor Trench on those 18-lap-old hards. Not the race that Vapor Trench wanted here, as he's almost certainly going to have to pit. I don't think those hards are going to last to the end of this race. But I have certainly been wrong about things such as that before. Don't forget about Will 7A having that 3-second penalty, so he's got to try to keep distance between himself and Trulson, and hope for maybe a mistake from one of our top 3, Greeny, Big Baguette, and Vapor Cobalt. Lesty the Twig, currently a little less than 6 seconds back up Trulson. Not quite sure if he's going to be able to make up any more time than he has, but that being said, 15th up to 6th is quite the accomplishment for Lesty the Twig. So certainly big kudos for him, having run an extremely good race up to this point. We're glad we see to pick up a 3-second time penalty. And Vapor Trench will indeed pit on those very old hard tires onto some fresh softs. Stay here for now on Chris F1 as he looks to chase down KJ, currently about 0.6 of a second behind. And as best I can tell, this should be the first points of the season for Will 7A. If he can finish strong here, had a very good qualifying, currently in 4th right now, does still have that penalty, but even with it, should still pretty easily earn a top 5 here, assuming that those hard tires hold up. Nicholas Volkman has arrived to the back of Word Cloud here. We should see Vapor Trench pretty easily past Crunchy Trees here, I would imagine. So Chris F1 finally getting by KJ. And Vapor Trench able to get by Crunchy Trees. Might be the first points for Chris F1 too in F1, assuming he does indeed finish in the top 10, which is looking promising that he will. Meanwhile, Lessing Twig has cut the margin between himself and Trulson down to about 4.5 seconds. With 3 laps to go, I'm not quite sure he'll be able to make up that difference, rather. As you see, Vapor Trench pulling at a very nice fastest lap time. And Greeny pulls ever further away from Big Baguette. The interval now over 3 seconds. Again, now getting that interval down under 3 seconds. Looks like he might be able to even squeeze it a bit more. currently about 2.5 seconds back with 2 laps to go. This penultimate lap, about halfway through. So this push by Big Baguette might just be too little too late depending on Greeny's tires and whether or not they can hold up. I see the Twig now outside of 4 seconds interval between himself and Trulson. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to get it done. That being said, very respectable for Leslie the Twig. I can't say enough good things about his race here today, having moved up 9 positions as Vapor Trench picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Must have encountered maybe some damage since his last pit just a couple of laps ago. As we begin our final lap, Greeny still having about a 2.5 second lead on Big Baguette. Assuming we don't see any bad luck for Greeny with like a puncture or something of the like, he should be able to take the checkered flag here in Japan. As Danny rooting for Will 7A to go into the wall. That seems a bit rough, Danny. I'm not sure what that man ever did to you. Will 7A having run a pretty solid race here today. Looks like he'll turn in a top 5 finish. See, with the position change, Will 7A pretty much staying pat where he started as Greeny comes into Sector 3, a little over 2 seconds in front of Big Baguette. It looks like he will indeed take this checkered flag. Big Baguette, some gas issues perhaps, some tire issues, but it looks like he will manage to make it across the finish line here. Big Baguette in second, just behind Greeny in first. Vapor Cobalt looks like he will quite easily wander across the finish line there in third. Will 7A will finish in fourth. We've got Trulson coming across the finish line in fifth. Yet another top 5 finish for Trulson. Leslie the Twig here in sixth. Nice work for him. Josh Smithness will come across the line in seventh. Chris F1 in eighth. KJ comes across in ninth. Pachensky will come across in 10th and be our last points getter here in Japan. Meanwhile, Let's Get Fiscal, who definitely has had better races in his day, will finish in 11th. Not the result Let's Get Fiscal wanted. Worried Cloud for now will be in 12th. We'll have to see if the penalties have anything to do with him and Nicholas Volkman. But currently in 12th, Volkman into the wall, across the line in 13th, and it looks like their penalties cancel out, both 3-second penalties. Meanwhile, Crunchy Trees AI manages to finish in front of both Vapor Trench and Price Jr. Vapor Trench as he comes across the line. I mean, I think it goes without saying that my driver of the day has to be this man here, Leslie the Twig in the Renault. Certainly carrying the Renault flag today, managing to come all the way from 15th up into 6th. Ran an excellent race, started on the hards, got onto the softs with about 10 laps to go, and finished strong. But of course, your winner here once again is Greeny, who picks up his 9th win of the season and moves past, 6th win of the season, I should say. So excellent work from Greeny, and that certainly will contribute to him maybe making things even tighter up at the top with that finish. So once again, Greeny takes the checkered flag with the win. Big Baguette in second. Vapor Cobalt in third. Definitely looks like Big Baguette will still, will be, I should say, up at the top of the leaderboard, but oh my gosh, it's going to be so close. We'll have to wait and see what these standings look like going into our next race in the USA. But we're going to have these three racers, Greeny, Big Baguette, Vapor Cobalt, in a sprint to the end with outside chances for Let's Get Fiscal and Vapor Trench for sure. Had a lot of fun bringing this one to you guys there. Let's see if we have our racers for some post-race interviews. Let's see if I get some invites here. I will invite Cobalt, who I already have. Big Baguette, I have. So Greeny, send me a friend request, and I can also add you to the party if you would like to do a brief. As we wait to see if these drivers would like to join us for the post-game interview, it's been my absolute pleasure to bring this to you. Once again, big congratulations to Greeny for the win, Big Baguette for the second place finish, and Vapor Cobalt for the third place finish here today. I've just been joined by Vapor Cobalt and Big Baguette. This will be our second week in a row that we're just not joined by our race winner. Maybe that's just an ongoing issue. We'll have to bring that to the board, I suppose. We'll get started with you, Vapor Cobalt. First of all, how do you feel coming out of the race with that third place finish?
Feels pretty good. Don't know how I spun, just never clipped the curb, but I guess the game's like, just thought I was a Ferrari, so I guess that worked out, but it's better than what happened in Russia, so I'll take it, but I'm 1 point behind now, behind Baguette in the championship, so still close.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking, in fact, it looks like it just was updated for me as well. So with 217 points, that does put you 1 point behind Big Baguette. You know, I don't know if you know this, but that was your 11th top 3 finish of the year so far. What do you think drives your consistency of just turning in these top 3 finishes one after the other, week in, week out?
It's just, I don't know, it's just, I practice, but I just try my best.
Sometimes that's all you can ask of yourself. Got to drive the body to the fullest.
Yeah, I'm surprised how well I did, because I was playing on 2018, and then hopped on, I had class, and then hopped on here right away. So no practice at all. So.
Nice. Sometimes it works out, and that third place finish was certainly well earned. So congratulations to you, Vapor Cobalt. Currently only 1 point behind this man, Big Baguette. Big Baguette, welcome, man. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Excellent finish for you. So Big Baguette, kind of in the same way of Vapor Cobalt, this will be your 7th top 3 win. Now you've also had a couple of, top 3 finish, I should say. You've also had a couple of wins to go along with that. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Vapor Cobalt. What drives your consistency? How do you maintain these top 3 finishes? Not even to speak of course, the several top 5 finishes you've had on top of that.
Again, it's a difficult question. To be honest, I don't really know. I think it's, again, just continuously sort of practicing. I think obviously racing multiple leagues and generally playing the game quite often does help you just become more consistent and helps you improve. But I mean, yeah, I think generally just got to be good at the game as well. So I think that helps. But yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. So a couple of quick questions for you, Big Baguette. First, the people want to know, Big Baguette, where did the name come from?
Oh god.
Try to keep it PG if you can.
No, it never originated from anything dirty. I think when I got the PS4, which was my first console I ever got, I struggled really to find a name, and I think I just happened to be eating a baguette one day, and I just looked at my PlayStation. I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not?
Certainly the
That's a good
iconic name. Absolutely.
A lot more special of a name than mine.
Well, Big Baguette, that's certainly a name that many of the drivers in this league have nightmares about as you race around the course, lap in, lap out. So last question for you, just out of curiosity. Japan happens to be a lot of drivers' favorite track. I'm just curious, Big Baguette, what is your favorite track to race on?
Oh, as a Belgian, I've got to say Spa. It's got to be Spa. I love that track.
Excellent. Yeah,
I've
Spa
got a
is
horrible-
always a good
horrible
time.
record, but
Well, certainly you can't win them all, but you do your best
Yeah.
to finish in the top 5, like I said, pretty much week in, week out. Well, Big Baguette, Vapor Cobalt, thank you guys so much for joining me. An absolute pleasure talking to you both.
yeah, no problem.
No problem.
Cheers, mate.
All right, and this is your man on the mic, Xerios, a.k.a. Ben Silver. Thank you so much for joining me here in Japan. Join us on Sunday as we race in both mine and Vapor Cobalt's home country, the great US of A. We'll call it the good US of A, shall we, at least for now. Maybe have lost the honorific of great, at least for now. But that political commentary aside, I hope you'll join us on Sunday for the race. Have a wonderful weekend, and until then, see ya.